Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, the thrilling sequel to Assassin's Creed 2, the game people point to when saying Assassin's Creed used to be so much better. Brotherhood is to this day many people's favorite Assassin's Creed game, and it's very easy to see why. It takes a beloved set of characters and story from AC2, puts it in a new, beautiful world with much more refined gameplay mechanics. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood released in 2010, only 9 months after AC2, and even though the framework is the same as AC2, Brotherhood improves upon and refines so much that it more than deserves a discussion for the best Assassin's Creed game of all time. So today I'm going to go over my recent playthrough and review of AC Brotherhood and let you know if it is still worth it in 2021. Brotherhood picks up where AC2 left off with Ezio in the Vault of the Vatican in Rome. Brotherhood's story does not have the length nor insane character development of Assassin's Creed 2. Instead, what it does is take the characters we know and love and make a short, simple, yet entertaining story, which I think works perfectly fine for a sequel like Brotherhood. Ezio is as great and charming as ever, albeit much more matured, which was great to see, and the game introduces a new villain, Cesare Borgia, son of Rodrigo, the villain of AC2, who also has a role in this game as well. Unlike Rodrigo though, who was patient, tactical, and smart, Cesare is the complete opposite as he is much more aggressive and brash. I mean, mans literally knocks on Ezio's door almost as soon as he gets home. At least Rodrigo had the respect not to make a house call. Cesare and just the story in general are kind of missing those layers and intrigue that AC2's story had, but it serves its purpose nonetheless, and that's to deliver a enjoyable sequel with Ezio and continue to progress the modern day with Desmond, which is actually quite a bit more prevalent in this game, which was nice to see. However, for such a short story, there are also quite a lot of filler missions, especially in the beginning since the main plot itself is very short. Easily the best and most improved part about Brotherhood is its gameplay. Combat in particular feels way smoother. The movement and attacks feel much more refined and easy to do, and it kind of just has this general flow and ease to it. A big contributor to this was the addition of the chain executions where you can continuously chain kill after executing an enemy. It's very smooth and quick, not to mention looks awesome. The one downside to this new feature, however, is that it tends to make the combat much easier, and it made taking out swarms of enemies a meager task. The timing for counters also has a noticeably larger window, which again is great for making the game smoother and more responsive, but less so for making it more challenging. There aren't really too many changes to stealth or parkour, it's pretty much the same, but there's a few helpful and deadly tools like the crossbow, for example, that add some more depth. And of course, probably the biggest new feature, the guild assassinations. This feature allows you to recruit assassin novices in the city, send them on missions, upgrade and level them up, along with being able to command them to assassinate any target in your vicinity. I really enjoyed this feature and it had a nice progression system which made it fun to grind and upgrade. It also just looks so badass as you walk by and your assassins take out the enemies for you. But just like with the chain execution, this feature makes the game much easier for you, and depending on the level of difficulty you like in your games, that may or may not be a problem for you. I also really enjoyed going around the world and renovating and investing in shops to boost the economy and wealth so you can buy new weapons and armor. And speaking of weapons and armor, there is a much greater selection in this game compared to the first two AC games. And you can also even dye your assassin robes multiple different colors, which just looks awesome. Instead of having multiple cities and villages like in AC1 and AC2, Brotherhood instead has one large city, Rome, where you will play the entire game. And it's clear this system works much better as this was carried on all the way until AC Syndicate. Having just one city allowed for the world to be a lot more rich and detailed, with much more world activities and side quests to partake in. And there is surely a lot you can do in Rome. The game introduced regions/outposts, where you have to kill a Borgia commander and ignite the tower to conquer, along with a lot of side story threads that give more backstory and depth to the main arc. For example, the Christina missions showed what happened between Ezio and Christina after the beginning events of AC2, which I thought was quite cool because that was never shown or explained. One downside, however, to this massive world is that you have to do a lot of traveling and traversing in between each mission, which the game accounted for by adding tunnels as fast travel points and allowing you to ride a horse in the city. Now, the inner city of Rome itself is absolutely gorgeous and extremely detailed. However, the outskirts are much more empty and bare without that lively, immersive feeling of the inner city. But the graphics, They are great. I'm not quite sure what happened between that 9-month period with AC2 and Brotherhood, but the graphics in Brotherhood are a very clear step up from AC2. Maybe this is just because the PC port from AC2 doesn't look as well, but I played Brotherhood at 4K on PC, and let me tell ya, it is an absolute beauty. The game is so sharp, detailed, and colorful, it's hard to believe it's over a decade old. Not to mention, it is also the only PC port of the early Assassin's Creed games, other than AC1, that allows for uncapped frame rates, making it a much smoother experience compared to the other games. The game is very polished, but certainly still has its flaws. On PC, the final mission has a glitch where for some reason, if you don't have VSync on, a cutscene won't activate. There's also still the occasional bug or hiccup within the game, as well as some really bad mouse acceleration on PC that makes the game practically unplayable with a keyboard and mouse. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood receives my overall rating of a 4 out of 5 stars, and I would definitely recommend checking it out in 2021. The story is short but enjoyable, the combat is very smooth, responsive, and refined, the world is immersive and lively, and the graphics still hold up very well. Again, the only thing I would really worry about is some of the glitches in the PC port and having to use a controller. But other than that, it's a smooth and polished game and easily one of the best in the series. Obviously, if you haven't at least played AC2 yet, I would check that out first. I made a review for that as well. If you enjoyed the review, I'd appreciate it if you left a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and have a blessed day, Assassins.